Okay, everybody. If you're here, you're ready to begin outlining your essay for the Romeo and Juliet paper that is assigned for this class. Just a reminder that this is a 200-point assignment and it's worth 200 test points. So it will be a major factor of your third quarter grade. So it's highly recommended that you take this seriously. You follow this video step by step and the videos that come afterwards. And if you do so, you should be able to get a good grade on this essay. Okay, first, let us begin. You should have this essay outline open on your screen as well. If you do not, make sure that you go to Google Classroom and you open it up. So if you do not have this open, please pause the video now and open up this essay outline. Okay, if you're back, I'm assuming you have this open. Now, we previously took some notes on this essay, but I want to read the directions to you first here. All right. You must write an essay on one of the following two essay prompts. Prompt number one. The play Romeo and Juliet is a tragic love story. Tragedy in literature refers to suffering and eventual downfall of the main protagonist. In this essay, argue who or what is most to blame for the tragedy that occurs in the play. Support your position with three strong claims or reasons. Right. So if you are choosing to do this essay, the part in red is what matters the most. You'll have to pick somebody or something to blame most for the tragedy in this play. You'll also have to support that with three strong reasons. There's also a second prompt. If you do not wish to do the first prompt, prompt number two says, the play Romeo and Juliet is one of, if not the most, popular plays to have ever been written and performed. In a well-developed essay, argue why this play is such an iconic piece of drama. Support your position with three strong claims or reasons. So again, for this prompt, you have to argue a reason why this play is so popular and such a well-known, iconic piece of drama throughout the English language over the last 400 and plus years. So you have to do one of these prompts, but only one of them. So what I'm going to need for you to do now before you outline is you have to stop and choose which essay you're going to write about. And when you do that, I want you to highlight the prompt above on your document. So you would take your highlighter. So let's say you're going to do prompt number two. You would take this cursor, then you would go up here to where it says highlight, and then you would highlight that yellow. I like to use the faded colors better than the actual colors. The faded colors are just a lot easier. So highlight that yellow, and there you go. And then you can see what topic you are doing, right? So I'm going to remove that. Go ahead. So what I need you to do now is to pause the video and highlight the prompt that you will be doing. Okay, if you're back, you must have either prompt one or prompt two highlighted, depending on which one you are doing. Right. Next, after you have decided which of the above prompts you wish to write about, you want to outline your 5 paragraphs. First, develop a thesis statement that responds to the prompt and identifies clearly what your essay will be arguing. Then proceed to outline all your paragraphs. Use the outline below to help you organize. Now, we've done this before for a previous essay, so I'm going to have separate videos for each of the different parts. So this video is just going to be about writing your introduction. So to recap, this is your introduction paragraph. And if you recall, an introduction has 3 parts. The attention-grabbing opening statement to your essay, where you open by briefly addressing the topic of your essay. Some background information that your reader needs to know about your essay, like what is the title of the play that you're writing about, who wrote the play, and basically 2 or 3 sentences summarizing the plot of that play. And then finally, as you know, the most important part of an introduction is the thesis statement. And that is one clear statement that identifies the main argument of your essay and the 3 strong claims or reasons to support that argument. Okay. So, in order to write an introduction, you always want to start with the thesis statement first because that's really what your paper is going to be about. Even though your introduction should open up with an attention grabbing sentence, then have some background information, and then your thesis statement, you kind of want to create your thesis statement first because your thesis statement is ultimately what's going to drive the rest of your paper. So for this purpose, I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to look at the prompt that I chose. So you have to look at whichever one you chose and create a thesis statement. Now for this video, I'm going to pretend I'm going to do prompt number 2. All right. So I'm going to highlight prompt 2 just for purposes. You might have prompt 1 highlighted depending on which one you're doing. So for prompt 2, I need to argue why this play is such an iconic piece of drama. So I'm going to come down here to my thesis statement. I'm going to make it very clear what I'm arguing. And I'm going to write, this play is an iconic piece of English drama because, and then I would list my 3 points, my 3 reasons why it is such an iconic piece of drama. Now, I'm not going to list any here because I don't want to give any away. I want you to come up with your own 3, right? So you would have to write down your 3. So again, this play is an iconic piece of English drama because, and I would list those 3 points. Now, let's say you were doing the other topic. The other topic is who is most to blame for the tragedy that occurs in the play. So, in your thesis statement, that's where you would have to argue who you're going to blame or who or what. So, you can say something like, the parents are most to blame for the tragedy in the play because, and then you would list your 3 reasons why you would blame the parents overall. Again, I'm not listing 3 reasons here because I don't want to give any away for your essay. I want you to come up with your own. All right. So I'm just going to kind of go back here real quick, and I'm going to put the other one back up there. All right, because that's the one I'm going to be practicing with. All right. So what I need you to do now is I need you to pause the video and I want you to come up with your own thesis statement. And when you've done that, then check it with me just so I can make sure that you are on the right path. So pause the video now and write your own thesis statement in this box. All right, if you're back, then I'm assuming your thesis statement is done and you have this box complete, right? But you're ready to then finish the rest of your introduction. So you go back up to the top here. The introduction, you have to open up with some attention-grabbing statements, all right? Now, you want to open up by briefly addressing your topic. So what is the topic of my paper? Well, if you're doing the first prompt, the topic of your paper is blame for a tragedy, right? That's ultimately what you're talking about. Guilt. Who's deserves blame for the tragic events. So you're really talking about what is a tragedy and what is guilt and how we see that in our society. If you're doing the second paper, you're arguing what makes something an iconic piece of writing or what makes something so popular. So watch what I would do. I'm writing about why this play is an iconic piece of drama, right? So I want to open up by kind of just briefly talking about that. So I could say something like this. Throughout history, works of literature have involved tragic endings or tragic moments. Usually, now what I'm just kind of writing about my topic. Usually, these tragic events are I spelled that. There you go. Tragic events are caused or are a direct effect of someone or something. Again, just a couple sentences about what I'm writing about, So again, you don't have to write what I wrote here. You come up with your own opening statements, but it should just be basically opening up the topic that you are writing about. Right? Once you have your attention grabbing statements done, that you want to check that with me as well. So what I'd like you to do now is to pause and write your opening attention grabbing statements for your essay. Okay, if you're back, I'm assuming that you have this box completed too as well, right? So that leaves one more part to do for your introduction. You got to give your background information, and that's where you identify the title of the play. I've already done that for you right here. That's when you identify the author of the play. I've already done that for you right here. And then you want to add 2 or 3 sentences that's basically summarize the main plot of the story. So if someone were to ask you, what is Romeo and Juliet really about in 2 to 3 sentences? A brief, basic summary. Don't give too much away. Don't go into details of the story. Don't go, don't start talking about all the things that happen. Just what is the story about in 2 to 3 basic sentences? The bare gist of the story. You want to write that right here. So it says in William Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet, the play, and then you would write about what it's about. So I want you to pause the video now and complete this portion of the box. All right, if you're back, I'm assuming that you have this box completed, which means now all 3 of your boxes should be completed. You should have your attention grabbing sentence or sentences. You should have your background information with 2 or 3 sentences summarizing the play. And you should have your thesis statement with your 3 main points. And if you have that, your introduction is completely finished. Your first paragraph is done, and you're ready now to move to your first body paragraph. And we'll talk about that in a different video. Okay? If you have any other questions, you can raise your hand and talk to Mr. Gasway. Otherwise, good luck to you on writing this introduction, and good luck to you on the rest of this paper.